Good morning, everybody. Edward Kelley here with a 188 Debt Line, answering your bankruptcy questions. We're going to start a brand new series, and these are 5 absolute things you need to know before filing bankruptcy, in particular before filing Chapter 7. So let's start off with number 1. As an overview, these are things that you will run into trouble if you don't know before you file. These are things that you need to consider before you file, and these are things that will be very important as you go through the process. So let's start off at the beginning with the requirements for filing a Chapter 7. So as you're pondering the decision, first thing, before you sweat out whether you want to do it, find out whether you can. So there are income requirements based on your household size. So the first thing you do is figure out how many live in my house. Now, a family is a family. You're pretty much going to count everyone, and you're going to count all the income brought in by those family members. So be aware that if you are filing and your wife is not, or you are filing and your husband is not, you're still going to have to include their income, and they will have to provide it. They won't be part of the bankruptcy, but their income is included in the total. So the cutoffs for a Chapter 7, meaning the maximum amount of income you can make per household, are based on IRS standards, which change generally yearly to adjust for the economy. Currently, for a single person, it's in the low 30s, and you can figure about 8 to 10,000 added on, 7 to 10,000 added on for each family member per year. So, and that increases. There are set levels for up to 4, and then a set amount that's added on for each family member above 4. Now, of course, if you rent, that's a different story. Even though you may cohabitate with roommates, if you pay them rent, or even your parents, if you legitimately pay them a rent, you may have a separate household, thus not needing their income. And you need to know exactly what the IRS standards are for your household size before you can figure out if you can even file. So you can find that on the web. Just look up IRS standards means test Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Google something like that, and you should be able to find a table that'll tell you by your state, and it varies state to state, what the cutoff for Chapter 7 is based on your household size. And, of course, the other big one, have you done a bankruptcy before? There's some new laws in 2005, the Bankruptcy Abuse Prevention Act, under George W., and that overhauled the system to some extent, and you cannot do a Chapter 7. That instituted the higher means test numbers, and by means test I'm referring to the cutoffs that I just discussed in detail. And you can only file a Chapter 7 every 8 years. You can only receive a discharge every 8 years, is actually more accurate. So if you filed one and got dismissed, that's one thing. But if you filed one and got a discharge, you're going to have to wait 8 years from the date of filing that case that received a discharge to file another one. So those 2 things will tell you whether you can do it. So those are your threshold issues. And in the next video, we're going to talk about what loans can actually be discharged, because that's certainly something you're going to want to consider as you decide whether to do a Chapter 7. So see you then. Again, as always, you can reach me directly at 188 Debt Line if you have further questions or are considering filing bankruptcy. You can also email me at edward@worthlawoffice.com, WIRTH, edward@worthlawoffice.com. So have a good one. See you soon.